get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I'm your host, Zach Shoemaker, and joining me today is a man that is 19-2 with 13 KOs. He goes by the nickname Vicious. That's Patrice Volny. Patrice, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate to be there.
Absolutely, man. Well, I gotta start off with one question for you, man. You go by the nickname Vicious, and I understand that nickname in the ring and all that, but then you look at yourself outside of the ring. You're not the most vicious guy in the world. You're obviously a very calm, cool, collected kind of guy. You seem very, very nice from what we've talked about so far, your social media. How did you get the nickname Vicious?
So I didn't choose my name, so they
Okay.
gave me the name Vicious. So because the big difference between the person I am outside the ring and in the ring is so drastic. So they came with the name of Vicious. So I remember it's Manny Montreal from Canada, Montreal, who gave me that name, and that name stick around till today.
Now, you gotta walk us through the mindset because be able to flip the switch is something that all athletes have to do to some extent, whether you be a basketball, football player, boxer. But like you said, for yourself, that's a very big mind shift. I mean, you're going from a guy that's going out there to try getting a KO, knock a guy out, to then going outside of the ring and you're this nice guy. How have you learned to balance those two different kind of sides to yourself?
It's really weird because I don't feel like I have to create that person, that Vicious.
Mm-hmm.
It just the mood changed once you're in the ring. You definitely have to put yourself in training in a different mindset, more aggressive mindset. But in a fight, it automatically changed. Sometimes I'm watching my fight and I'm kind of shocked. Let's say at the beginning that, oh, that's actually me. It's really different. That's not what I used to or expect of me in the ring. So I see a big difference. When I started boxing, I was more thinking to be more flashy, more stylistic boxer in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But my first fight, boom, everything changed, and I didn't choose.
Okay.
I think that the style chose me, and the acting or the way the person has chose me.
So you'd say it was like right at the gate, right when you first started fighting, they kind of you just automatically just kind of flip the switch then?
Absolutely. Since my first fight, everything that I predict or think,
Yeah.
bomb, everything go out. It's a different thing. You cannot choose. But you definitely can't act like the way you want to. Let's say Chris Eubanks have a different style. Eubank Jr. has a style too. But the way I do it, it didn't choose. It just be like that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
who I am in a
Gotcha.
way, or a side of me.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get to know you a little bit better so people can kind of know your story too. And so, one of those components is that being out there in Canada, you got to walk us through this because boxing, I don't believe, was your very first sport you started playing. I believe it was football, if I'm not mistaken. So, you got to walk us through that. What was it about football? Why'd you fall in love with that sport first?
So football is a family sport. I
Okay.
got a lot of actually everybody in my family played football.
Okay.
Some played for the CFL, some went pretty far in the sport. So I was following that path because I did like that community sport, family sport, a
Sure.
teamwork sport. So I fell in love with it, playing as a wide receiver, playing for a couple of years. But after a couple of time, I realized that I probably want to try something else, something
Mhm.
different. And they opened a boxing gym next to my house, probably 5 minutes walking. So I
Wow.
said, let me try. It was a free try. So I said, let me try just for fun. And I don't want to say I fall in love with it at first because I was going like 3 times a month, two times a month, and I still had my football training at the same time.
Okay.
And once I did my first fight, I think it was the first fight, everything changed. I said,
Mhm.
"Look, there's no more football for me." And nobody believed that I would quit football. And I told them, like, I'm not playing really. And they thought I was doing it for a moment and never stopped since that.
All right. So, when you were growing up, then was boxing ever on your mind? Like, maybe not even playing it, but like, was it just watching boxing? Was that ever in your life at all before you started pursuing it?
Never.
Really?
I was not even watching boxing at all. I know the big name, everybody know Muhammad
Yeah.
Ali, we
Sure.
knew Mike Tyson, but I didn't know nothing about football. I was watching probably a few. video accidentally, but I was more focused on watching football highlight or hits or basketball. But fighting sport was far, but really far from being my mind.
All right, so you get that, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a free trial that was offered too when you first started boxing there.
Yeah.
And so when you were just going through this process and you see, okay, well, I got a free trial, I can go to this gym and box. Why did you want to do it? Because obviously, a lot of people maybe have a boxing gym close to their house, but not all people are actually going to go box. That's still you have to have a
Yeah.
different mentality to want to go step in a ring or train, whatever the story might be. So, what was it about you, kind of inside you, said, you know what, this is a little bit interesting to me?
So when you're playing a team sport, when somebody make a mistake or somebody don't work, you pay for it.
Yep.
So I was kind of sick of watching. I'm really a competitive person, so I was pretty mad when I see other teammate not pushing like I want.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I should not be punished because they're not doing the work. I remember that sometimes they put me on the bench because this guy didn't do his work, but the blame was on me.
Mm-hmm.
So the blame was on me, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Yep.
Boxing was not in my mind. They just opened a gym,
Yeah.
and I realized that if I do something wrong, it's all on me.
Yep.
If I do something good, it's all on me. But if you do a mistake, you paying and you paying cash and you paying now. So that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the side that I was like kind of interesting about solo sport because it was actually the first time I played a sport without a team,
Yep.
and I kind of like it. I kind of like the fact that you are the only one to blame. You cannot blame anybody in boxing. I do understand sometimes your team might make a mistake, but I don't feel like the
It's different.
coach
Yeah.
is necessarily to blame. It's more me. If they told me to do something in the ring and I didn't do it, it's on me. So I kind of love that sport. It's a big challenge for a person on his on my own self.
Now, growing up playing basketball, no, that kind of was my mentality too. I mean, I like the personal different aspect where you don't have to play the team sport, but I know that's not for everybody though, because at the same time, it's got two sides of that. On one side, you no longer get blamed for other people, but now, like you said, the pressure's all on yourself. If you perform and you do great, all the glory goes to you. You get all the credit. But if you don't do good, it's all on yourself as well. So it does bring an added level of pressure to that. How did you deal with that, and how have you kind of developed yourself now to say, okay, you do realize that every time you step out there, it is all on yourself?
Yeah, it's all on me, and I do like that actually. I do
Yeah,
like the fact that all the pressure is on me. I think it gave me a kind of a boost knowing that everybody watching. You know, in a team sport, if you do some bad, somebody might help you or get advantage in the solo sports, you boxing. I like the fact that if I do some wrong, there's no you cannot recover from that. You're gonna get punched
yeah.
right now, and I love it. I love that. It's incredible. But I learned fast in this sport. I learned fast watching my first actually boxing fight. Watching is other than Muhammad Ali was a Ronald Winky Wright, and the
Okay,
boxing side was amazing for me. So I try to not copy, but take big part of his boxing style to introduce to my soul. Like that, I feel like I don't necessarily like create too much opening, so I don't have that big big thing.
yeah.
But that do drive me to stay there, take a hit, and that's I find that's the way to handle the pressure.
All right. So when did you fall in love with boxing then?
I fall in love with boxing after watching Winky Wright.
Okay,
If I'm
gotcha.
not wrong, it was Winky Wright against Felix Trinidad.
Okay,
Was a masterclass of how he used his jab, his defense, and everything. So it's not the boxer that people expect to hear as a name. You know, people might think Floyd or Muhammad Ali or
sure.
Sugar Ray, but mine was Ronald Winky Wright. I find his defense was amazing, his style was amazing, and it was a boogeyman. He was
Yeah.
a boogeyman.
All right. So then you start going into the sport and you start pursuing it then. But when did you start to kind of click in your mind, say, you know what, this is going to become my lifestyle now. This isn't just something I'm going to do for fun. I want to be a professional boxer. I want to go and make this become my lifestyle. When did you make that decision?
I think that this decision was actually never really made.
Okay.
I think started as an amateur, keep going for fun because I like it. When I turned pro, it was actually only because I love the sport of boxing. I was able to do it. I was able to bring wins. I was comfortable, and I still was in love, and still today in love with the sport. I think
Mhm.
it's more like pretty recently, like last year or a
Really?
little bit after COVID, that I'm like, okay, I'm doing great. I still love the sport. I think once you don't love or you don't like training no more, I think it's the end. But
Yeah.
I'm still, I love it. I love it. And it probably like recently, I'm like, okay, I'm there. I'm there. I'm not that far. I'm not that far, and I really can make it.
All right, so you went pro in 2016. So now you're saying your first 4, 5, 6 years of your career, you pretty much were just saying, I'm just going to do this for the fun of it. You didn't start clicking that this is what you want to pursue till just a couple years ago.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It took me a while before it was just having fun,
Hmm.
loving to fight, and I was winning, and I was winning, and I was winning. So I feel like in a way that just release pressure. I don't put pressure on my shoulder like that. In a way, I don't feel like, oh, I absolutely have to do this or I can do nothing else. I'm able to do something else after boxing.
Hmm.
So I think it releases a lot of pressure. I don't have to put all that on my shoulder.
This kind of does jump a little bit ahead, but as you said, just in the past couple of years that you've been kind of all in on boxing now, and you are up there a little bit in age now. You're obviously not a super young guy overall. So is this still something that you want to pursue for a long time now? Whether it be 2, 3, 4, 5 years, like is this something you still see a long term future in yourself boxing?
Yeah, I do think is I can see it as a long term life, a long term
Hmm.
lifestyle until I don't love it no more or I get
Fair
too
enough.
many losses or bad losses. I don't think I will stay in the sport if I'm not able to, let's say, give the performance that I think I should give.
Sure.
Because it's for sure I'm 35. I started boxing late 17, so almost 18. So I don't have those damage. I don't have the damage of a young fighter that probably start at 4 years old. I
Yeah.
never been hurt. I never been knocked out or nothing. So I feel very fresh, very young, and I'm still in my learning process.
Yeah.
So I think I quit the sport if I lose interest in the sport or I just cannot give performance. I know for sure there's a lot of great boxers around,
Yeah.
youngster or whatever in the sport in the division that will come, and I think defeat is part of the game, and you have to test yourself. If you be defeated, I mean, you probably have the fight, the tough fight that you were looking for. I'm looking for tough fight. I'm not here to stay for a wild or super long time.
Hmm.
So I do think I'm still there for a couple of years until I don't have it no more. I will lose that passion
Sure.
for the sport.
The crazy thing is you didn't go pro to in your mid 20s, 26 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
26, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty wild because a lot of guys that are boxers, they grew up. You see them when they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years old with the dads that were also boxers, kind of growing up in the sport. 26 years old is a late start for a lot of guys. How did you make up so much time? Because you 19 and 2 now, you've had an already pretty successful career overall, especially
Yeah.
considering all the boxers at a large scale. How have you been this successful when not starting boxing until 2016 at the age of 26 years old?
So so my decision to turn pro at 26 was school.
Hmm.
I had school. I cannot quit my school. I invest so much in school. So I was like, I'm not doing it now. Even if people say it's late, I feel like 18 is too early. A lot of fighters turn pro at 18. I do feel it's too early. For me, turning at 26, I feel like it was the right time. I feel comfortable. I feel like I got no rush. Nothing is rushing me to turn pro now.
Okay,
Um, I was feeling ready. I think that's the best thing. I was feeling ready. I said,
gotcha.
that's the time to go pro now. I prove what I have to prove. I didn't go to national fight or nothing like that because I could make it because school and whatever the decision or boxing politic as an amateur.
Hmm.
But I was feeling ready that okay, I did everything I was supposed to do in amateur. let's go pro because I didn't have that Olympic dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you go off to a great start, 15-0 start to your career in just a couple of year span. You're rolling, and then the COVID pandemic ends up hitting and settling in for guys. And between October 2019 and May 2023, you only end up getting 2 fights in during that time span. Walk us through that time. I have to imagine that was pretty difficult for yourself. What were those years
Yeah.
like for you?
COVID period was pretty tough.
Hmm.
Remember I had a fight date for Germany. I was supposed to go to Germany. So the day or the week that I was supposed to take my flight,
Hmm.
uh, fight got postponed because of COVID because you cannot enter the country. So it was pretty a tough time. I was in camp nonstop. I was in camp for the full COVID, cannot
Hmm.
fight. Actually, I had one fight. So you cannot have your full team. You have a cutman. They gave you a cutman, nothing, no crowd, no nothing. It was different. I used that period of time in my advantage to gain a little bit more weight, be more strong, a stronger fighter. And I had injury, broken knuckles, so the COVID kind of forced me to recover in a way. So I'm
Okay.
not gonna blame COVID for that. But I was I was in the top 10 in 3 division,
Hmm.
and it slowed me down. My motivation was still high because I know for sure I could get back, and I just have to work. And I cannot be mad for something that I cannot change. But
Yeah.
COVID was it was a tough time for me, and I guess it was for every athlete. Some I
Yeah.
know did stop the sport, but when you want something, you just go with it.
And you said you were just staying in camp that entire time, just getting ready. Like you said, you do get the fight in. You end up going 1-1 during those time, that 4 year time span there. But can you just take us through? Because that has to be difficult for yourself. When you look at boxing in typical times, you get your fight date, you have 8 weeks, whatever it is to prepare, go to camp, when you're fighting. This was a lot different. This was, hey, we're at an opening coming up now. Can you fight now? Are you ready? How were you just kind of dealing with the sense of, okay, I have to stay ready, and now all of a sudden the fight's available, I'll go take it and go after it?
Yeah. So it was the mentality was that I know a lot of people are affected by the COVID. A lot of people will not train like they normally would.
Yeah.
So I probably double my training so I
Mm,
can stay active and to make sure I'm more than ready. When I come back, something changed, and people can say, "Okay, he got better." You
okay.
know. So I was training and knowing that I have opponents. I don't know if they're training. I know they will. I don't know if they will pass that COVID test.
Mm,
That was the most stressful thing, that you don't know if your opponent be there. I remember the coach didn't want to take the test, so the athlete said, "I'm not coming." And I'm like,
mm,
"Hey, well, I just trained like for 2 3 months. I got probably like 3 fights that got postponed, and now today you say you don't want to take that COVID vaccine because you don't want to fight, and your coach don't want to, so you will follow the same thing. But
mhm.
after talking, he finally ended up fighting. But every fight you have, you just don't know. You just
Yeah.
don't know. It was I don't want to say a stressful situation. It's a big question mark. You just don't know what's gonna happen. You're just hoping to have a fight. Because I
Mhm.
know Canada, we were not fighting in the US is the same state. So it was easy
Yeah.
for them to just travel a little bit and fight. And
Yeah.
home, we cannot take a plane. We cannot quit the country. So you see people fight and you're not fighting. So you're still at the same place at the beginning, and everything start keep moving without you. So it was something.
So when do you feel like things got back to normal then? Because obviously every state, every country was a little bit different. Obviously, I'm out here in America, so it's a little bit different than what you guys were dealing with in Canada. But
Yeah.
when did you feel like what year was it when you said, okay, things are getting back to normal now? We're starting to travel more easily now. We're able to kind of have more certainty in terms of sport. When did that start to feel like it was okay, kind of a more stable time zone for you guys?
Um. So what I think COVID stopped in 2023, if I'm not wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think around 23, 24, no, 23,
Okay.
everything's starting to get back to normal. It was just hard to have fight.
Okay.
It was just really hard to have a fight. Lucky me, if I'm not wrong, in 24 I had my fight against Esquiva Falcao in 23, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So I think that was the period of everything going back to normal for Canada and everything. But people were still fighting. They were just really hard to have a fight.
Gotcha. Now let's head into your most recent fight because things kind of you build yourself back up. Things will get a little bit more normal, and then you get a great opportunity. You and Emma Williams get a headline a card, Orlando. Just that part right there. Just the fact that you get to go headline a card, be the main event. What was that like?
It was fun. It was fun. I can't ask for. I can't ask for more. I
Yeah.
was really happy to. Well, the day I received that call, I said yes right away. I don't
Okay.
care. I don't care. So I think it's an opportunity, a big opportunity, and I think I'd be crazy to turn that down.
Hmm.
We working so hard. Every fighter working so hard for this opportunity. When they show up, if you don't take it, you're just not taking the chance, and you've been working and training all that time for no reason.
Yeah.
So I was excited. I was really happy to take the fight. I knew Amo because he came to Canada to help one of the Canadian fighter there home. So man, to start from Canada without a promoter and to be the main event in a different country in Florida was really great.
Well, let's get into that fight because, in my opinion, it was a very, very close contested fight. You guys went back and forth, very competitive. There was one scorecard. I'm not sure what he was watching there, but the other ones were a little bit better. I think the 113, 115 was a fine scorecard. That made more sense. I think it was between a round or two between you two. As I said, I don't know what the 118, 110 scorecard was, but it's boxing. I guess we can kind of chalk it up to that part. But
Yeah.
when you go through that fight, just take us through the fight because I'm sure you've already rewatched it a time or two. You've taken notes. You've seen what you did good, what you did bad. Can you break us down kind of the fight for yourself? Like, what's your thoughts overall on your performance that night?
So on that night, I was feeling great. I think I was in control of the fight. So didn't take punch. My defense was good. Choosing the punch wisely.
Yep.
And I think let's say a mistake that I did is that I didn't think during a fight. There's a lot of things happening, so it's pretty hard to concentrate on too much thing. I
Yep.
forgot to concentrate that the fact I'm not home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not home, so I have to do way more. So
Yep.
that's one mistake. I forgot during the fight, but I was feeling great. The power was great. I was able to absorb a lot of punch. Actually, the word block. Yeah, almost every punch was blocked. It touched me a few times to this boxing, so that's okay. But I
Yep.
was feeling in control. Once the first jog, when they give the scorecard, the first jog gave the 118, 110. I don't even know if I was shocked. I don't know if I was shocked. I was looking at my team and saying, if I drop him twice, I still lose. No matter what happened, it looks like I was about to lose that fight, no matter what. If you didn't watch the fight, people might think I get beat up on that fight.
Yeah.
It was a close fight.
Agree.
In my thought, I had it by 2 rounds. Let's say like a draw. I wouldn't be mad for a draw because I know it was a close fight. It was a really good fight. But the 118, that one judge, hey, that was different. Let's say.
All right, so it's frustrating as a fan just watching boxing. I feel like it's almost at least one every big card you have. There's at least one of the fights on the main card that one judge just I don't know what the heck's going on with that guy, what he's watching, and then you see two more realistic. Now sometimes there's robberies where all three judges are watching different sport. Thankfully, this was just one overall, but as a fighter, that's got to be extremely frustrating. I mean, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, I can respect the 113, 115 scorecard. I see where that could possibly happen. It was a close fight. I get it. I respect it. But you see 118, 110, and it's as if, like you said, you got your butt destroyed the entire fight, and that's not the case. How do you handle that as a fighter? Like, what just goes through your mind?
It's frustrating. It, it almost you almost have to put yourself in question. Did I really look that bad? Did I get beat up?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yep.
You don't know because you're in the moment, and I'm trying to be like not biased because I think it's almost impossible to not be biased for your own self. So
Yep.
I try to watch the fight and look what I did bad. So I remember right after the fight, I went to the hotel. I went to eat and everything. When it's time to sleep, I went to the hotel. The fight was already on YouTube. I probably watched it like 6 times in a row, and I'm like, I don't feel like that fight was close. The fight
Yeah.
was close. A lot of people have been winning. A lot of people was saying it was a draw, but that 118, 110 is like, well, eh, there's no way for me to win if I don't knock him out. Kid is a good fighter too.
Hmm.
So it's not easy to win by knockout all the time, you know.
Agree.
So when I saw that, I don't want to say I was mad. So I allowed myself to be mad of 5 minutes. And after this, we turned the page. We got to go back to the gym
Fair.
and back to working because I cannot be mad for something that I cannot change. I cannot change that. The decision was made. Whatever the decision is, 118, 110, I take it. It is what it is. Back to the gym.
This is just kind of a sidetracked question though regarding the judges, but I know there's always been talks about people saying, "Hey, typically after fights, the fighters have to get interviewed, the coach is going to get interviewed, or the trainer is going to get interviewed. Why don't we have the judges get interviewed? Because I would like to hear what he was watching, why he gave 118, 110. Is that something you would be in favor of as a fight? Like, would you like to be able to either you guys have a discussion with the judges, say, "Hey, what did you see that I did wrong?" or at least have them be available to the media to be able to go get interviewed and discuss why they gave the scores that they give?
I would love that.
Yeah,
Imagine you can imagine they have a little room after the fight so you can go and have a talk with them to understand exactly what they saw in the fight, you know?
yeah,
Because sometimes, so let me take as an example, Rolly Romero when he fought that I forgot his name, but it deserved a big loss. They stopped the fight. I was shocked.
hmm,
I just don't understand how they make that decision. For me, for my last fight, I just don't understand how the judge said 118, 110. So everybody in the crowd and everybody watching on TV see something else,
yep,
but you see a close fight like a so far
yeah,
fight like that. It's like I did nothing, you know. So that's the only part that's frustrating. But I will. That would be amazing to be able to have a talk or something to understand how the judge scored the court. You cannot
agree.
do. It's not football, so there's no challenge play, you know.
Yep,
So you have
exactly.
to obey whatever they choose and whatever they say. But I think that that'd be interesting and in a learning process because some judge love more power punch, some
Yeah.
love more speed, some more love more activity or whatever. It gives you a different perception, and you probably would know what you have to do if you see this judge in the corner.
Yeah, good point. Yep. Well, I want to ask you a little bit more about Analyze himself because obviously he's another good fighter. Like you said, he's a good fighter. He's very talented, bright future ahead of him. When you talk about just facing him, what was it like being in the ring, sharing the ring with him for 12 rounds or 10 rounds? Like, what was that overall like, just being in the ring with him and experiencing his fight? What was he like as a fighter for you?
He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. The big thing I do love about Hemo is he has a big heart, and
Yeah.
I mean in two ways. He has a big cardio. He's he has a lot of cardio, but the kid want he want so he love to fight, and I think we have in a way the same mentality that we want challenge,
Yeah.
challenge, tough fight. I've been asking for a tough fight. He's a tough fighter. He came from his fight against Shiraz, had another fight, and now back with me. And probably the next fight might be another tough one too, you know.
Yep.
So Hemo is a good kid. He's a good kid, humble guy. We talk before the fight, we talk after the fight, and everything, you know. So there's nothing, no, nothing mad. We're not mad about it. I'm not mad because actually I'm the one who lost, you know. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm pretty cool with him, you know. But he's a good fighter. He's really dedicated to the sport, dedicated to his craft, and I love that.
Absolutely, man. Well, I got to ask you then, what's next for yourself? Because obviously, yes, you're coming off a loss. 160 is still a very open division overall. And when I look at the weight class, I think you have the champions that are kind of solidified. And the rest of it's a lot of guys just working their way up right now. It's not a lot of guys solidified and in prime time contending spots. I think Hamza Shiraz was in the mix there. Now he's moved up to 168. So he's
Yep.
out of the picture. So when you look at this, I'm sure there's a lot of options on the table for yourself. What are you looking at next? What could possibly be next for yourself?
So for me, I would love a big fight right away. I don't think I do feel like I'm in the mix and I deserve to be in those type of fight. There's a lot of names, like you said, the middleweight division is getting more established now. You
Hmm.
got Johnny Bank, you got Adames. Everybody's getting the positions getting choose now. You
Yeah.
know, so I think I'm capable, and I feel like I deserve those opportunities. I will get there, that's for sure. I deserve this opportunity. I show a good fight, good competition, and there's a lot of people that I'm ready to fight anybody actually,
Okay.
anybody in the division. They just have to accept.
Yeah. So
That's
is
the
there a
point.
timeline? Do you have a timeline for yourself? Like, is there a month you want to return? Summertime, fall time? Like, when do you want to get back in the ring?
Let's say I would love to be back in the ring in summertime, and
Okay.
after this in falls. In
All right.
falls, and if I'm able to have 3 fights in the year, that'd be amazing. Because
So
I
have
don't
you?
have a promoter, so it's pretty hard. It's hard for me
Fair enough.
to have fight like that. They don't give me fight that easy, that
Hmm.
easy. But I will fight. I always fight once or twice a year, no matter what.
So is there any discussions you've had at this point? Is there somebody you've been in discussion with, talking, or somebody that you want to fight? Is there a specific name that you're trying to target that you'd say, hey, this is the guy I would like to fight? It makes sense for me. I'm trying to get the fight made.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. The discussion that the choice was made. If we had the win against Emo, we would Lara would be a big one, a big opportunity. But I don't think Lara will. I think Lara is a little bit at the door. I think he's not gonna stay in boxing for too long. I try to hide Johnny back because I think my defensive is good. I know he's gonna be a really hard and tough fight, but
Yeah.
why not? I'm not here to just have easy fight. I want big fight, a hard fight. Then let's see where I can really position myself. But either way, I'm really ready to fight anyone. Anyone is in the ranking, so I can get their place. I take it.
All right, so then I don't know if you've heard about it yet, but there seems to be, at least what I've been hearing about, is the middleweight tournament going down. I'm not sure if it's going to be Australia, where it's going to be at right now, but so far it has guys like Zoo in it, Michael Zafar is in it, Mateo Tapia is in it, Brock Jarvis is going to be in it. It seems like it's going to be some sort of a tournament between the middleweight guys, kind of guys all in your mix that's in the top 15, a little bit out of it. Have you heard about that? And if so, is that something that you would be interested in being a part of?
I think I did heard about it. Not too deep to it. I heard a little bit about it, but
Hmm.
that's for sure something that I'd be interesting to jump in. That's a big tournament. Today they're doing a lot of tournament for youth or young people under 23, and
Yeah.
sadly I'm over 23.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, by a
would
little
love
bit.
to be. Yeah, just a little bit. So I'd be happy to be in the big tournament, a big tournament. That'd be great. I never had the chance to be in one because,
Yeah.
COVID and everything changed the world, the boxing world. And today with Riyadh season, everything kind of changed and promoters starting to get together because they know where everything's gonna
Yeah.
go. So hopefully something happened before I get to my 38 years old.
Fair enough. Definitely. So I guess what I was also asking about that middleweight tournament, then have they approached you? Have you reached out to them yet? I mean, obviously that's the thing that I think would make a lot of sense for yourself. Obviously, like I said, it's a lot of guys in that top 15 group right there. I mentioned Zoo. I mentioned Zafar is obviously a good fighter. Brock Jarvis. I mean, these are a lot of guys that I feel like the winner of that would easily establish themselves as a title contender, legitimately get a shot there. Is that something that you have approached them about? They approached you about? Like, has there been any discussions regarding that with you yet?
If if they did, they probably talked to my manager.
Makes sense.
My manager yet. I just don't know yet because I know my manager and my team, they went to their Riyadh season because we got one of my fellow friend, a fighter that's gonna go there. Wilcox.
Okay.
So he's gonna go there, and the team is there, so they probably more focused on it at the moment. And I understand that. I understand that. So
Makes sense.
hopefully, my friend Spencer Wilcock pull out that W and bring back a belt.
Absolutely, man. Well, I also want to ask you and kind of pick your brain about the 160 division. I know we kind of touched up on it a little bit there. And as I said, I feel like right now what we're looking at is, I think in my opinion, it's time that the champions start to unify. I think we have three guys that's obviously in the mix. You got Janabek, Adames, Laura. you said like Lawler's probably on his way out a little bit sooner, but obviously still at least got another fight or two in him. When you talk about if you're going to get your matchmaking brain on right now, you're going to kind of try to make the best matchup possible. What fight would you think would be the best fight to make between the champions at 160 right now?
Adam and Johnny Beck.
Agree. Yeah.
Adam and Johnny Beck. I think that'd be a kind of a clash of style in a way, a lot of volume, a lot of technique, southpaw, and I know Adames do switch sometime, and
Yep.
he did a big performance against Amjad Shiraz. Nothing to
Yeah.
take off, but I do believe he won that fight. Not there was no draw for me. It was a
Agree.
clear win for Adames. But I think that fight against Janibek, and we did see Janibek in a probably sometime hard position, and I think he need to be tested.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say
Agree.
the guys or the fighter he fought was not good. I'm just talking about a big test. I
Agree.
consider Adams as a big test, but Janibek awkward style different. The volume is pretty high, and that'd be interesting against Janibek, who loved that uppercut, and
Yeah.
Adams doing probably putting his head down sometimes. So that can be that probably will be an amazing fight. I don't want to put Lara in the mix because I feel Lara's getting old
Yeah.
and it's slow. It did slow down. It's not the Lara that we knew from the beginning. So
Agree.
like the big fight be Johnny Beck and Adonis.
I agree with that one right there, man. Well, I got a couple of questions before I let you go. One of those is asking yourself, now, like you said, obviously you want fights to be made. You have some goals in mind for yourself. But if you're going to give me an outline now, if you're going to say a timeline, let's say in the next 12 to 18 months for yourself, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get done? How many fights do you want to fight? Like, what's the blueprint idea? Obviously, everything's got to go perfect or whatever, but your goals for the next 12 to 18 months, what are they?
Okay, so I want to have 3 fights this year.
Okay.
3 fight be the ideal. 3 fight, and I need to be back in the top 10. I was in the top 10 before COVID, and just couldn't fight, so they took my position. I didn't lose to get out of the top 10. I need to get back in the division. I think that's the proper step to make, and the more the sense that the step that make more sense to be top 10 before saying that I want to fight Johnny Beck or Adames. I got to
Agree.
follow the
Yeah.
step, be back in the top 10 again, fight couple guy in the top 10, and whatever, fight the champion. I don't think I want to stay in the boxing for 20 years more.
Yeah.
I want to see what I worked in the sport if I belong in the. That's I don't want I won't say like top boxer, A boxer, B boxer, C. I don't find it's bad to be a C or A. I just want to know,
Yeah.
what I really worked in the sport.
Absolutely, man. Well, the final question I was like wrapping up with everybody is asking about your legacy because, as you said, man, the boxing is not going to be something you want to do for 20 some years or whatever. Like, it's in the final 5, 6, 7, 8 years, or whatever it is for yourself. So, when that day does come, though, you decide to put down the gloves, step away from boxing. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want people to remember me more like a humble fighter, true to himself. I don't want to change for nothing in the sport. I want to be, and I think I'm doing it today. I'm the same person that I was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Nothing changed me. My foot's to the ground. I believe hard work. I still believe in hard work and give back,
I
give
love
back.
it.
I didn't have the chance at the beginning to have let's say a fighter that could look up to and that can help me. And I think I want to do that for the young. There's a lot of fighter, give them education on something they don't know, because I know there's a lot of thing, and people believe whatever they want. And I
Yeah.
think if you have somebody around you that can tell you the truth about the sport, the good side, like the bad side and everything, and make sure you stay out of trouble if you want to reach your goal. So
Yeah.
that's what I really want to people to remember for. And I'm not gonna say like for world champion and what. If I get there, I get there. At this
Okay.
moment, it's just me working hard and get to the gym and do my job.
Absolutely, man. Well, I love that, man. Well, Patrice, I definitely appreciate taking time to come on today, man. It was a blessing having you on here, man.
Big thank you. I appreciate for the invitation. I really love the show. So big
Thank you.
thank you to you. Huh? Amazing.
Absolutely appreciate you, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless. Much love.
As well, man. Talk to you later, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning into this interview right now. I'll go on a short break. I'll get into other interview that I have set with Andres Cortes. I'll see you guys shortly, and God bless you guys. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Zach SchuZ Shoemaker, and welcome back to the SchuZ Show. Now, before I get into the interview with our next guest, I've got some stuff to get into. Now, as I said, yes, Andres Cortes, he'll be coming on the show at the top of the hour. We got about 13 minutes, but I got some segments I want to get into before that initiates and takes place. Because there's been some boxing news over the past few hours, one of which is, let me just say this, because we got the prices now. We know the Cinco de Mayo, May weekend is going to be insane. We have Friday night. You're going to have the Rolly Romero, and you're going to have Devin Haney. You have Teofimo Lopez. All those fights going down at Times Square on that Friday. On Saturday, we have on that one. Canelo Alvarez, fighting William Skull, and that card going out on. I'm messing up right now. My apologies. We have those guys fighting then out there, Riyadh season in Saudi Arabia. Then we're going to fast forward up on into Sunday, in which we will have Naoya Inoue making his Las Vegas return, and that will be a mega fight. So we have all those three fights going down that weekend, all of which will be huge. That being said, there is something that's now come out in regards to the pricing for the Riyadh season cards. Now, that's going to be the Friday and Saturday night cards. Obviously, the Inoue card will be with Top Rank and ESPN, but the prices came out. In the UK, it's going to be $34.99. Y'all are good out there. Congratulations. You guys don't have to pay that much money for that card. In the United States, though, it's $89.99. So let's just call it $90 overall for the 2-day package deal. I think it's $65 if you want to go one or the other, $90 if you want to combine the two and you get Friday and Saturday's pay-per-views. I can't believe I'm going to say this right now, but for those in the boxing world that know what I'm referring to, you guys will all get this one. When I see those prices, I can't help but think of the viral clip of Two-Tone that he makes with his Fire Stick. Now, listen, I ain't going to judge anybody that does that way, but let's just be honest right now. That's quite expensive. Now, these are a lot of big fights being made. The Times Square one's going to be unique, and the Riyadh season one with Canelo is going to be a solid card, but let's be honest, paying that much money for Canelo Alvarez with William Skull, which will be a beatdown, not sure it's really worth it there. You can judge with how you're going to spend your money on that night. However, it's going to cost $90 in the United States of America for those that want to watch the two package deal fights at Times Square and then Riyadh season. Canelo, Rolly Romero, and Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, so on and so forth. That's going to cost you $90 in America. Congratulations to those in the UK, though. Let's fast forward, though, because a big news came out about 12, 13 hours ago now in regards to the heavyweight division. It's not officialized yet, but Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois are in the process of finalizing a deal for a Ring Magazine and Undisputed Heavyweight Championship rematch on July 12th at London's Wembley Stadium. Now, let's just make this straightforward and answer this right out the gate. That atmosphere will be electric. UK fans absolutely love and cherish Alexander Usyk. He's going to get a warm reception out there. And then you talk about the hometown guy, Daniel Dubois. Wembley will be packed for that fight. That being said, this was the fight that always made the most sense, and it does not shock me. We can put the conspiracy theories or whatever we want to make up about what happened when Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker were supposed to fight each other just a couple months ago. Whatever happened, happened. This was always going to be the fight that was going to get made. And I see two sides to this. On one side, it's a business decision from Daniel Dubois. Joseph Parker was a legitimate threat. Daniel Dubois could go for undisputed championship, get a massive payday, fighting Alexander Usyk, the rematch, might I add, at Wembley Stadium. Obviously, that's a big upgrade for himself. Can't blame him for that one. And for Alexander Usyk's standpoint, listen, he wasn't just going to go fight anybody. He's only got 1, 2, maybe 3 fights remaining in his career. Undisputed was always going to be the option he was going to look for. There weren't too many realistic options for a guy of his caliber to fight at this point in his career. So it does not shock me to see this fight being made. And I like it. It's an exciting rematch to have happen. But like I said, this is two sides to the story. The other side to my reaction in regards to this fight getting made is, man, I feel horrible for Joseph Parker. When you talk about the way that this man has rebounded, rebuilt his career, had all of his big wins, Deontay Wilder, Zhang Li Zhang, you go and fight Martin Bakole, and I get it's on short notice and whatnot, but he fought him. He knocked him out in the second round. And that fight was supposed to be for a world championship against Daniel Dubois. And you get that taken away from you. It is what it is. And now you get yourself positioned possibly to go get a championship fight against a guy like Usyk or something along those lines. And now it looks like that could happen, but not until the end of this year or early next year in 2026. Because if you're Joseph Parker, what else are you going to do? Stay active, sure, but you are more than deserving of a world championship fight right now. And this is not a situation like we see at light heavyweight where you have, okay, David Benavidez more than worthy of a world championship fight against a guy at Bivol or Beterbiev without a shadow of a doubt. But we see this two guys that are top 5 on pound for pound list, two at least top 10, let's say, and two guys that are phenomenal. All due respect, obviously Usyk's up there, but for Daniel Dubois' standpoint, he's just not that guy yet. He's incredible. He's going to have a great career, but you know what I mean. It's not these two top 5 type pound for pound guys where you can make an excuse for why this is happening. So Joseph Parker's sitting in the sidelines when I'm sure in his mindset he firmly believes he could have beat Daniel Dubois, and I don't doubt that mindset. He had a very good route to possibly beating him. Styles makes fights, and Joseph Parker would have caused a lot of problems to Daniel Dubois, most likely. So that makes me think, then, what is Joseph Parker going to do? Sure, he can go sit out and wait a year or so until he possibly gets the winner of Usyk and Dubois. But does he want to stay active? He doesn't have to stay active. He's earned a world championship fight. But I don't think he wants to sit out a year. Just keep waiting and waiting for the opportunity he's been waiting for and he earned. So what's next for Joseph Parker? Does he just do a fight to stay busy? Possibly. And if so, who are some of those guys? Well, one name would be a big fight. This would be risky for both guys. Jet Caballel. Massive statement on the very same card when he knocked out Zhe Li Zhang. That would be a sensational fight to have happen. I would love to see it. Once again, both guys would be risking a lot. The winner would obviously get the next world championship fight to fight the winner of Usyk and Dubois. But do they both want to risk that? Because potentially Usyk could even vacate the belts after this fight if he beats Daniel Dubois and go move down the cruiserweight or something else. So do you risk potentially getting a world championship fight right out the gate? That's for them to make that decision. Could you also go fight somebody lower down the rankings? That's possible as well. Would not be against that decision being made for Joseph Parker. The decisions are going to be tough for him. I know it's not a position he wants to be in. And that's why I feel horrible for him, because he has earned a world championship shot. He's a guy that would not shock me if he became a world champion. He is a premier boxer. In my opinion, he's the 3rd best heavyweight in boxing right now. So that is definitely a fight that I would love to see happen, and we'll have to see what unfolds there. But it does seem for Joseph Parker, who will have to be waiting at least now about 6 months to a year until he gets that world championship fight. But with that being said, though, we're going to get to an interview very shortly. I'm going to go a quick break. And when I return, we'll get into an interview with Andres Cortes. I'll see you guys very soon. God bless you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SchuZ Show. As I said right before the break, I've got a great guest coming on right now. He's a man that's 22-0 in his career, no losses, 12 KOs. He's ranked number 5 in the WBO, number 9 in the WBC, the junior lightweight division. His nickname is Savage. That's Andres Cortes. Andres, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Yeah, what's up? Thank you as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get right into the very first thing. We'll touch back up on this in the end, but you got a fight locked in now. May 10th, you're going to be fighting Take us through your first initial reaction right now. What's it feel like to finally get a fight locked in again?
It feels great. I knew the fight was gonna be coming up, so I've been in the gym, staying ready, just waiting for that call.
Absolutely, man. Well, I said about in the very beginning that your nickname is Savage. I want to know the backstory behind that. How did that become the nickname that you got?
I don't know. I just kind of grew up with that name, and I think like just growing up, it was my Xbox gamer tag for a little bit.
Okay.
So just growing up, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Well, also your boxing career. I know you're from Las Vegas, and I know you had a great amateur career as well. But when for you did you start really falling in love with boxing? When did this become the sport that you wanted to pursue?
I mean, I've always loved boxing since very young age. Since
Okay.
I first started it. Just watching boxing, being a part of it. Now both sides, seeing the promotional side, the business side makes me appreciate it even more.
And when you were growing up, was that always a sport that you said, okay, I want this to be my career path? Or when did you just kind of switch the mindset and say, you know what, this is now going to be my career where I believe I can go make this be my profession. This can be what I make my livelihood off of?
I always knew and I always believed. I mean, I was always, talented
Sure.
in pretty much a lot of sports. So I always knew I could do this.
All right. So you just said you've always done a lot of sports. What are some of the other sports you did growing up?
I mean, like I played a lot of sports, but I mean, just combat sports in general. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what was the separating point of boxing? Why'd you fall in love with that one opposed to everything else?
I guess it was just the easiest.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now you have a post from a long, long time ago, and it was with you and Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, one of the all-time greats, maybe even the greatest of all time. How'd you get that relationship? Where those pictures come from?
I was originally signed with Mayweather back
Hmm.
in I want to say 2016, 16.
Okay.
So I mean, I always trained in the Mayweather gym, so I've been there. I've been around there. I grew up with a lot of the fighters that were with Mayweather Promotions,
Okay.
so I already kind of had that connection and just kind of followed their route.
That had to be a big influence on your life to have him when you're younger, still developing as a fighter, to have one of the greatest of all time in your kind of corner, learning from him. What would you say is the biggest thing you learned from him?
I mean, hard work, of course.
Sure.
You can have fun and do all those things, but you know, when it's time to work, you got to work.
Yeah. All right, so then you go into your pro career, and you've obviously had a great career to this point. 22-0, you've yet to lose. You have no losses on your record at this point. Have you always expected this to be as good of a career you've had to this point? So was this what you always expected to be in the position you're at today?
Absolutely, don't see anyone beating me.
All right. Now, when you talk about this upcoming fight, like I said, it just got announced. May 10th, you're going to be fighting. This comes off of now a 10-month break off for yourself. And I know that obviously wasn't a plan. I want to go into that a little bit for yourself because you're in a position where you potentially could have had what ended up becoming a title eliminator fight. And obviously you missed it. I know this probably was not the situation you want to deal with. I know that probably wasn't easy for yourself. How have the past 10 months been for you?
I mean, I've been just focusing on myself. Nothing has really kept me out of the sport. It's just there's no one to fight. At
Fair
this
enough.
point, I might as well just fight myself.
Fair enough. So I know that you had the fight, which was going to be against Suarez back in September, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken. And you had, if I'm not mistaken, it was an injury in that situation. Are
yeah.
you 100% healed up from what that was?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just the injury, and I just had to take some time off. But I am 100% from that.
So when would you say you reached 100%?
I had to take about like a month or two off of
Okay.
just resting and you know slowly getting back.
And so now you get to this position where you're going to be fighting on May 10th, almost about what? Exactly about 1 month from now. I know that has to feel good to get in the ring again, get your feet wet, get back in that ring. What are you most excited about to be able to make your return now?
I mean, I'm just most excited about just getting in there and whooping ass, man.
All right. So, do you know anything about your opponent at this point in time? Salvador Jimenez. He's Obviously, a solid fight on his record and all, but have you got to see much of his film? Have you broke down much of him, and what's your thoughts on him so far?
He's tough. He comes to fight. I know
Yeah.
he's coming from far away, so he's definitely coming to win. He's never been stopped. He only has one loss, so I know he's hungry. But I got to show that there's just levels to this.
When you talk about that fight, do you have any predictions yet at this point in time for how the fight's going to go?
I think first round knockout.
Fair enough, man. And if you get that first round knockout or even a dominant win, let's just be honest. We look at the record right now. We look at your standing. We know with your promotional group, the main event that night is going to be a world championship fight. Emmanuel Navarrete, Carlos Suarez, the guy you could have fought beforehand, and you're with a top ranked connection. I mean, I just look at that right there. It seems like a perfect opportunity where if you win that fight on May 10th, that you have the opportunity to possibly go for a world championship fight this year. Is that something that you are identifying that you see as a possibility?
Absolutely. That's one of the main reasons why I'm on that card.
Okay.
You know, so I'm ready right after. As soon as they're done with their fight, I'm ready to get it going.
Is that already the discussion? I know obviously you're the guy with the connection with Top Rank and everybody. Has that been discussed between you guys? If the right performance goes down by yourself, that could be in line for you?
It hasn't, but you know what? I'm working the WBO route. I really want to win a WBO title. So, I mean, that's the championship fight. So I'm
Yeah.
really aiming and going towards that route.
If you were to make a prediction at that fight right now and you were to get that world championship fight, who do you think you'd be matching up with? Do you think it's going to be Navarrete winning that fight or Suarez?
I mean, I think the whole world knows that. I mean, even you know that. I think everyone knows what's gonna happen. It's just, yeah. I think that fight, me versus Navarrete, is gonna be a great fight.
Now, obviously, like I said, that is the fight I think everyone expects is going to happen. That would be a massive fight to see between you two. When do you think that could possibly occur? I know this is looking out, looking. You probably are just focusing on this fight for now, but do you think that's going to be something we see fall time of this year, maybe summertime, winter time? Like, when do you see it possibly that fight could come to fruition?
I really have no clue. I'm ready as soon as we can go, but
Okay.
it takes two to tango. So I'm not sure when the other side will be ready.
If I were to ask you to have a blueprint for the next 12 months for yourself, the goals you want to accomplish, how many fights you want to do, where you want to be at 12 months from now, what would you say everything would entail in that package group for the next 12 months for yourself?
I mean, I definitely want to get through this fight, and then get another fight lined up, maybe summertime for a world title, and hopefully at the end of the year defend it.
Absolutely. So you're saying we could possibly see you 3 times this year and become world champion by the end of this year?
Oh, absolutely. I love to be in the ring. I love to fight, so I don't really like to take time off. So
Absolutely, man. Well, a couple of things I want to get into about you is let's go to your last fight you did fight. Obviously, Abraham Nova, it was a tough fight. Both of you guys went
yeah,
back and forth. And obviously there's a lot of stuff I want to get into in regards to that fight. But one of which is there's a little bit of an interesting ending to the fight when you guys had the press conference or you guys were talking in the ring. Both of you guys accused each other of being dirty. Obviously, it was a very, very tough fight when you guys were in that ring. But can you just take us through that side? Obviously, you guys both accusing each other of being dirty. Obviously,
yeah.
you could say both sides were accurate in that statement however you want to look at it. But just what's your thoughts on that fight now? If you've broken down, I know you've watched the fight already. Take us through that.
I mean, I wasn't at 100%. So
Okay.
I mean, there was really no excuses for me. Um, I came in there, did what I had to do. I got the victory. So I mean, that's long gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you talk about what you've learned from that fight, obviously there's some things I'm sure you gained from it, some things you learned. What would you say is the biggest thing you took away from that fight that you've now implemented your great game and you've grown in?
Not too much. Like I said, I wasn't 100%.
Fair
I
enough.
know what was wrong with me, so I wasn't at 100. If I was at 100, that fight wouldn't have gone very long. That's just me
Hmm.
being honest. And if people want to judge me off that fight, go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. So when you look at just your ability now you've had 10 months off, you've recovered, you say you're at 100%.
Yeah.
What type of Andres Cortes can we expect in that ring when you return May 10th?
Very explosive. That's all I'm gonna say. Shots are a little bit different now, and they're just coming a lot more sharp, explosive. So that's really what I've been working on. Um, just looking for those knockouts.
Would you say that this is the best you felt in your career to this point?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think you guys will see that May 10th.
Absolutely, man. Well, I just got a couple more things I want to get into. One of those, what I kind of touched up in the beginning with you, is that you growing up in Las Vegas, when you just get to go out there and you get to fight and represent Las Vegas, what does that mean to you? Because that's the fighting capital of the world. Does that mean anything else being able to fight from that state?
Yeah, I feel real good here. I feel very comfortable. I see my people here, so I know the city's got my back, and I just feel real good here.
Absolutely, man. Well, there's one final thing I was like discussing with everybody before I let you guys go, and that's just talking about your legacy. You've got a long, long career ahead of yourself. You're still a very, very young fighter. But when that day does come, you decide to step away from the ring and step away from boxing. What is it that you want to accomplish and be remembered for?
I want to be, one of the best champions out of Las Vegas.
Okay.
You know, uh, Definitely multi-world champion, and like I said, just be one of the greatest fighters out of Las Vegas.
You just said multi-champion, all these different things on your list. When you talk about that, and I just have to ask you this question now. Obviously, you're already fighting at 130. You're still young. Could we see you try to go for? I know it's obviously going down the road quite a bit, but see you move up weight classes, move to 135, go for that conference, or do you feel like 130 is going to be your weight that you want to dominate for the remainder of your career?
Absolutely not. I think I don't got too much longer at 130, so I'm probably
Okay.
gonna make that jump to 140.
Okay, so you're gonna go all the way up to 140, then you're gonna skip to 135. You plan on?
Absolutely.
Fair enough. So when can we possibly see? I've got to ask you then. I mean, if you said it's that close, you possibly get the Navarrete fight this year, become world champion. Could we see 2026 possibly even that soon, moving up to 140, or when could that possibly happen?
Yeah. I got to take care of business at 130 first. Then
Sure.
I'm probably gonna move up to 140.
So what's up with skipping 135 then? Is that just something you feel like 140 is gonna be your long term one? You just want to get going there. Why do you want to make that jump from 130 to 140?
Cause I feel like it's right.
Okay.
In UFC they do from 35, 45, 45, 55.
Yep.
So why not boxing?
I just have to ask you then. I mean, when you look at that aspect about boxing, I know some people do say there's too many weight classes, too much of that going on. Would you say that's a accurate statement? Like, do you think there's too many weight classes, or are you fine with it being almost every 5 pounds at the lower divisions?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I think however the fighter feels most comfortable, if they can drop those extra 5 pounds, go ahead.
Okay.
Um, it's always on how the fighters feel.
So then, would 140 is that the one that you plan on? Once you get to that point, that's where you want to stick at for the remainder of your career, then pretty much.
Nah, I'll probably move up after that.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, since you have 140 on your mind, then is there a certain guy that you want to fight? Is there a guy that you have on your mind that you want to fight one day?
As of right now, nah, I haven't thought that far, but I mean, those are just my goals.
Gotcha, absolutely, man. So, is there one guy? I know you said Navarrete, but if you could make any
Yeah.
dream fight at 130, if you become champion, and that could be the answer is Navarrete or unifying with somebody else at 130, is there one guy that you really want to fight at 130?
I mean, any of the champions. I don't. I mean, is there another undefeated champion right now?
Undefeated, I'm trying to think because 130 champions, you have a Shaki Foster, who he does have a loss because of the Coincido one. You obviously have Navarrete. Um, Lamont Roach is obviously in the balance between, I don't know if he's going to stay at 130, 135. And then you have, I think the other one's vacant right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, like, there you go. I'm one of the only undefeated fighters, top 10. So, I mean, I think it's gonna stay that way.
How important is it to you to have the O? I know that's a big thing in boxing. When you see the O by your record, what does that mean to you and how important is that to you?
I mean, realistically, it does not mean too much. I'm willing to fight the best, and I know at the highest level, it's any man's night.
Agreed.
So I do understand that. So I'm trying to make the best fight possible. It's just very hard to get those fights.
Agree with that. And that is an interesting mentality. I actually want to ask about that mentality of yourself because I think that we've gotten boxing such a stigma of, hey, don't lose the L, go fight guys, don't make the big fights. But then we see things like we've seen the past couple of months where we see guys like Bivol and Beterbiev. nobody else views them any lower because of the fact they both have a loss on the record now. Likewise with Fury and Usyk and those type of guys. Do you feel like that's the mentality that needs to be more in place? And going back to the UFC thing, obviously they have a lot of losses too. Is that something that you feel like is a safer place to be at for boxing in terms of saying, hey, as long as you're finding the great guys, if you have a good performance, you take an L, it is what it is, but kind of keep moving forward, not letting the O be such a massive factor in people's opinions?
Absolutely. I mean, the best fight the feds, and like I said, in any given night, the best. Anything can happen. So I do think that the best should fight the best, and win, lose, or draw, they can run it back, rematch,
Yeah.
trilogy. So I mean, you're gonna be bound to lose.
If you become champion, as you said, you want to fight the best of the best. How much pressure is that putting yourself? Not even pressure, but how much of a motivation, I should say, would you have of wanting to make big fights, whether that be at 130 for the time being, 140? How big is it to you to make the fights against other champions, unifications, undisputed, you name it? How big of an importance is that in your life?
I mean, I think that's why everyone wants to be, in boxing is to be the best. So to be the best, you got to show you're the best. So I mean, I won't feel comfortable with my career until I've fought the best.
Okay. Absolutely, man. Well, Andres, I appreciate taking time to come on today, man. I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on your return on May 10th.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless.
Appreciate everyone for tuning into that interview. I'll have both interviews out very, very shortly posted so you guys can watch them independently. And with that being said, though, I'm going to get into a couple more subjects before I wrap up today's show. And those subjects are going to be kind of going back to the personal segment, some other news that we had going on. And one of those is actually only one more I just realized. So we're going to have one more topic I want to get into today before I conclude today's show. And that's talking about Jake Paul. And this is an interesting thing. And as boxing fans, let's just get to the facts. Is he the best boxer anywhere near that group? Absolutely not. But can we deny the fact that Jake Paul has the most stardom in boxing? Now, that could be debated, sure. I mean, you look at lists, Canelo Alvarez, Tank Davis, Anthony Joshua, Negro Inoue. Is he the biggest star in boxing, though, right now? And the reason I ask is because rumors are now coming out. He has failed to land the Canelo Alvarez fight. He had a few other fights with Tank Davis possibly planned, others that have fallen apart now. And now he's looking at a position where he could possibly see him fight Nico Ali Walsh. We could possibly see him fight a guy of Cesar Chavez Jr. None of those fights are fights that I want to see, but will I watch them? Sure. So I guess the question I have to ask then is Jake Paul good for boxing? To that I say depends on how you're viewing it, and if we look at the large-scale picture, it's good. Why do I say that's good? Let's look at the reflection of what happened. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, that fight was abysmal. The fight was atrocious. The fight was a disaster. But was that night a success? I'd say yes. The reason behind that answer I give is let's look at what happened for the women. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, possibly the fight of the year last year. More eyes were given to those two than they ever would have gone on any other platform, and has now allowed themselves to piggyback off of that fight to have them headline their own mega fight card this year. That'll be coming up in a few months. That's huge. Let's go below that fight card, and you have Mario Barrios and Abel Ramos. Another incredible fight. We saw these big fights that would not have had the attention that it gathered and gained had it not been for Jake Paul. And so for that, I say, are you going to get some massive mega fights from Jake Paul in this landscape of great boxing fights? I don't think we're ever going to see that. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think we're going to see it. But can we stop hating on the fact that he does have the biggest branding in all of boxing and out of all professional athletes, let's be honest, outside of, the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, LeBron James. I mean, Jake Paul, if we're going by followers and his influence in the world, he's pretty close, if not right after that group of guys. And so if we're going to keep complaining and bickering about what Jake Paul brings to boxing and him ducking everybody, yeah, it's fun to talk about, but he brings eyes to boxing. And those eyes can help us grow the brands and the platforms of countless other boxers. Because if we're going to be honest right now, there is an issue when it comes to boxing in America. Things are not as sustainable as we once thought they would be. We go back in time and we look at the reflection of how strong boxing in America was in its prime days. It's not quite there anymore. There's a lot of factors to blame for that. And if we start up at the heavyweight division, my goodness gracious, the heavyweight division in America is a train wreck. And I don't think we're ever going to restore that, because let's look at the facts. When you talk about boxing, the guys that could be heavyweight boxers, they're playing basketball and some are playing football. Now, I don't think there's too many football guys, because a lot of football guys are not that tall. They would not probably qualify for heavyweights if they were to cut down weight. But let's look at basketball guys. There's quite a few that come to mind that could have had very successful boxing careers had they pursued that, opposed to basketball. So I don't think we're ever going to have that change in tide, because, listen, the money is in basketball. It is what it is. But we can still fix the other weight classes in boxing in a lot of different ways. And that comes from exposure. Nothing else can get more eyes on something than exposure, promotion. And so if Jake Paul continues to fight and he loads up these undercards with other guys that are good boxers, it's going to grow the brands of these boxers and these fighters. And overall, in the large scope of things, it's going to grow the picture and the branding of boxing. And that is necessary. More guys wanting to box, more guys having the mentality to box, and having more guys be able to earn more money from the sport is only going to help it. That same thing can be said about Turki Al-Sheikh. Yes, people have the polar opposite opinions of what he's doing for boxing, but let's be honest. More pay makes boxing more enticing. Soccer or football, if you're going to go in other countries, is very, very enticing as a sport because it's one of the highest grossing and high paying sports in the world. Basketball has now surpassed football, according to what we've seen in the Forbes list that came out a couple months ago now. That's why players and athletes want to go pursue basketball. However, because of Turki Al-Sheikh, there was, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of the top 10 earning athletes in all the world were boxers this year, and they all came from Riyadh season fights. Usyk, Fury, Joshua. Let's stop hating on things. Let's look at the large scope and picture. Sure, there might be things that are not preferable, but the large scope of things is changing boxing for the better. Boxing is in a better position now than it has been in many, many, many years. Whether you like that or not, it is a fact. There are better fights being made now than ever before. I understand a lot of people like these promotional groups, PBC and these other things, but guess what? Those companies, those organizations, before they started coming together and making the best fights happen, it put boxing in a horrible position for many, many years. It dropped it from being one of the most desirable watch sports in the world to quickly dwindling in every single country. There's not an emphasis and a fandom for boxing as there once was, and it's due to a lot of these different factors. The more that we have more money involved, the larger eyes on boxing, the better off boxing will be going forward. So is Jake Paul good for boxing? My answer to that is simply yes. Yes, there are things that we can dispute, but at the end of the day, the large picture, boxing is in a better place with Jake Paul than without him. That's what I've got in store for you guys in today's SchuZ Show. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow night, I do have one interview planned. It's going to be a late interview, and I'm excited for that interview. If it doesn't come to fruition, I'll make sure to promote it so everybody knows about it heading into tomorrow night. If not, though, I still have a show tomorrow regardless of what happens. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in today. I appreciate all the guests that came on today, and I'll have those interviews and different things put out on my YouTube channel separately very soon. May God bless you guys all, and I will see you guys tomorrow. SchuZ is out.